morning, grade 3. I welcome you to a brand new social studies lesson. And this week we're going to read lesson 1, our location, that belongs to unit 2, chapter 3 of physical geography. So we're going to see how we can learn the following. We're going to learn how to use geographical tools to locate communities and find locations. Now, we've used some geographical tools, map tools earlier, but let's dig into how we're going to do that again in this lesson. So please do not forget to pause this video for better understanding. Now, this is lesson 1, chapter 3. Let's start reading our location. And I'm going to skim through the most important highlighted words here, and you can always pause this video and read it yourself. So let's look at this word. But before we do that, let's look at the opening sentence. Each community has its own location, of course. To show someone where you live, you might use a map or a globe. We know what a map is, we know what a globe is. Maps and globes are geographic tools. So obviously we know that maps and globes are geographic tools. That's how you can define geographic tools. What are geographic tools? Maps and globes. Great. Let's look at using globes first. All right, and let's read the first few lines. A globe is a model of Earth. A globe shows the oceans and largest land areas or continents. We know that Earth has 7 continents. Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. And we know that a globe is round like the Earth. It's a model of the Earth, right? Awesome, great. Let's look on the second page. What do we've got? We've got the Earth's hemispheres. Great. So that's the North Pole, that's the South Pole, that's equator, this line, this imaginary line that divides the Earth into 2 halves. Upper half, Northern Hemisphere. Lower half is called Southern Hemisphere. And then we've got this line right here from north to south. Again, this is also a line, an imaginary line. Please remember that. Remember the longitudes and latitudes. This one right here, again, divides the Earth's surface into 2 equal halves. This half is the Western Hemisphere, and this half is the Eastern Hemisphere. Great. So, question for you. In which 2 hemispheres is Asia located? And if you look closely at Asia, you're going to find the answer. So, I want you to go to a map, look at the continent of Asia, and I want you to decide which 2 hemispheres. Is it in the Northern Hemisphere? Is it in the Southern Hemisphere? Is it in the Western or the Eastern, right? And don't forget to post your answer. Perfect, great. Now, let's look at the hemispheres. Well, on a globe, it can be divided into 2 halves. You remember fractions, right? The pizza, and then you cut it off into half, and you get 1/2. 1 pizza into 2 pieces. But you can have more fractions. It's the same concept. Earth divided by an imaginary line into 2 halves. So a half of Earth is called the hemisphere, right? And we use the equator to divide the Earth into 2 hemispheres. What is the equator? You should know how to define an equator. The equator is an imaginary line that is halfway between the North Pole and the South Pole, right? And it divides the Earth into Northern and Southern Hemisphere. There's another imaginary line that divides the Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole, and again, then you have your Western Hemispheres and the Eastern Hemisphere. You can always go back to this video and basically see what I mean. Great. Now remember that every place on Earth is in 2 hemispheres. North America, for example, is in the Northern Hemisphere and also in the Western Hemisphere. Well, let's go back and see at North America. So this is North America, and you can see that it's in the Northern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere, because it's right here. So north and west. Think about your cardinal directions and the intermediate directions. Same thing, Northern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. And then you're going to decide where Asia is. That's where our country is located, Qatar, and you're going to decide which hemisphere is Asian. Great. Now, Using maps. Let's have a closer view. That's a map. We've already gone through this before. We know that every map has a map key. Map key has legends. These legends point out and help you read a map. So let's read and scan through the text. You can always pause this video to read slowly, taking your time. Great. Using maps. While a globe is round, a map is flat. A map is a drawing that shows the location of places. An aerial view. Looking at a map of a community is like seeing it from an airplane, right? A map shows an aerial view of the location of a place. An aerial view is this view from above. Aerial photographs, or photographs taken from above also show that a community looks like from the air. Now, if you look at your Google Maps, you can see the aerial view on the map. So that's it, aerial, air. View from the top, aerial view. Great. Let's go ahead and read this page. Now you can see the world, you can see the oceans, you can see the continents. You should be able to label them by now. You can always pause this video, go through these again, a quick recap. Now, let's read about maps. Now, unlike photographs, maps use colors, drawings, symbols to show places on Earth. Because a map is flat, it is easy for people to carry it, and maps can also give more information about a place. So, a map can show the whole Earth or just a small part of it. Unlike a globe, however, a map cannot show the true shapes of oceans and continents. So we know that already. Great, let's look at how can you find your location. So let's have a closer view. Again, you know what a border is, but we're going to go through this again. A border is a line that shows where a state or country ends. The map on this page shows the borders of countries in North America. You can also see the borders of all 50 states. The compass rose on the map will help you find the relative location or the location of a place in relation to another place. For example, Mexico's location relative to the United States is south. Let's go back onto the map and see if this statement is true. So you can see that this is United States of America. We've got Canada up here in the north. And again, the color codes tell you that this right here, Alaska, is again part of states. And Mexico is south, relatively south to the states, right? You can see this, these directions here. This compass rose helps you define that. Great, so, and you know what that is. Do you remember what that is? That's right, that's a scale. Remember when we measured the distance? True, so remember the key points here on the map. Now, let's look at our own community. Now, you can locate your own community. Find your state in the map. Your community is in this state. It is also on the continent of North America. Well, for us in Qatar, that's not true. We're a small country, and our country is not in North America. It's in North America. It's in Asia. And what I want you to do is that I want you to look at the map of Qatar, a 3D map, a 2D map, a 4D map. You can use an app, you can use your Google Maps, you can use a real map if you want to, and I want you to locate your community on it and share information with me. Share what's the name of your community, or which street your house is on, what city. Of course, the country is going to be Qatar, and also the continent. So you're going to do this for me. Just remember this girl and this poster right here. So that's going to be one of your assignments today. And right here on this page, we're going to see how you can use latitudes and longitudes. Now, this is very easy to remember, trust me. Just remember that if you forget what a latitude is, just remember this, that latitude is like a cafe latte, like you see those layers on a coffee latte, cafe latte, that's your latitude. That's how I want you to remember that. And for the word longitude, long, think about a long, not long really, tall person, tall. So remember these lines run vertically on the globe or on the map. These run horizontally like this in this direction, right? I just remember it this way. Great. So again, what I want you to know is that these are latitudes. Think about your cafe latte, horizontal lines. These are longitudes here. These are lines that run vertically on the globe. And let's look at the prime meridian now. This one is important. To measure distances between east and west, you use prime meridians. You see this line right here on the 0 degrees? That's your prime meridian. That's all what you need to know. Okay, so remember the prime meridian right here. And once we're done with this, let's look at this page here. Now let's quickly go through this, and I'm gonna navigate through this page to help you out. So first of all, I'll look at the title: Ohio, latitude, longitudes. Perfect. Pennsylvania right here, West Virginia, Indiana. That's Ohio. That's our concern state. But we're gonna read these questions and see how we use it. So, which line of latitude is nearest to Akron? Great. So the first step is going to be that I need to locate Akron, right? So that's Akron. Perfect. And then they're asking me which line of latitude. Let me think. Latitudes ran vertically or horizontally? Cafe latte, latte. So horizontally, right? So this one right here, that's 41 degree north. You can see that N, right? Perfect. Which line of longitude is nearest to Lima? So first step first, where is Lima? I'm going to look at my map and I'm going to scan for Lima, and I can see that Lima is right here, right? And then I need to look for the longitude. So that's A for W, right? Degree W, not W. Right there. You can see Lima is right there, and that's your answer. And the last one is, which city is nearest to 40N 83W? So 40N and 83W. This is a little complicated. So first I go to 40N. Remember how you found absolute location on one of those grids? That's the same thing. So 40N right there, 83W down there. And okay, so the answer is Columbus, right? The answer is Columbus. So that's your answer. Great. Now, task for today, I want you guys to do this for me. I want you to go to page number 20, and I want you to practice reading this map and finding the answers. Now, I want you to pause this video because this is super duper easy, and then when you're done, you're going to unpause this video and look for the answers. Great. Let's begin. Okay, I'm assuming that you've paused this video and you've already decided true or false. Let's read the directions. Here you had to decide whether the statement was true or whether the statement was false. So let's read the first one here. 1. South America is mostly in the southern hemisphere. So let's go to South America, and the answer is true. It is in the southern hemisphere. Next, let's look at the second statement. Europe is in the western hemisphere. Where's Europe? That's Europe. Is it in the western hemisphere or the eastern hemisphere? That's true. It's in the eastern hemisphere, as you can see right here. Next, 3. The equator is an imaginary line that divides Earth into a western hemisphere and an eastern hemisphere. And the answer is false. No, that's not true. That's the prime meridian's work. Prime meridian does that, so false. Next, we're going to look at the Atlantic Ocean is between the continents of North America and Africa, which is true. As you can see, this is Atlantic Ocean, right? And this is between the continents of North America and South America, right there. All right, and last, question number 5. Every place on Earth is in 2 hemispheres, and the answer is true. That's true. Every place. One part would be the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, and the next would be you defining whether it's in the western or the eastern hemisphere. Great. So with this, let's come to the conclusion of this lesson. All right, grade 3. So I hope you're going to do your page number 20, and you're going to share your answers with us. Please do not forget to leave a comment and discussion and share all the lovely things you learned in this lesson. Best of luck, grade 3.